鎖 関鎖
One Piece Chapter 11:31 has it all. Finally, Loki was officially introduced, and his bounty is incredibly exciting, making him seem very powerful. Also, we get to see Robin back in her best look, and there are concerns about Saul. So let's break down everything that happened in One Piece Chapter 11:31. Stick around, right after the intro. Hello everyone, we're back with another video about One Piece Chapter 11:31. Here's the channel's review. Just to help us out, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate notifications so you don't miss anything. Alright, with no further delay, let's get into the video. Before the video, at the end of this review, I'll share a message Oda left for manga fans. But first, let's get to the review. Starting with the cover story, we get another chapter featuring Yamato. Now riding Kamashiro alongside Otama, who's riding Speed, they're chasing down the sword thief we saw in the last cover. Will they manage to catch him? Chapter 11:31 begins with Luffy incredibly excited as it hits him that they've arrived in Elbaf. Finally! Elbaf. Luffy shouts this, and it feels like it's coming from the fans as well, for one of the most anticipated arcs in the series. I think Oda might have broken the fourth wall here. While Luffy keeps rambling, the chained giant, Loki, who is being interrupted, loses patience and yells at the Straw Hat. Loki then reveals he's the so-called Sun God, a legendary figure in this country. It's also revealed that his bounty is 2.6 billion berries, a special bounty given by the world government. Now that his introduction is finally made, there are a few things that stand out about the Prince of Elbaf. Starting with him calling himself the Sun God. My question here is why? What makes this giant believe he is the Sun God? And what does this entity represent for Elbaf? Both Road and now Loki have claimed this identity. Sure, Road was just playing a role in his own RPG game, but is that the case with Loki? Loki's personality seems a bit like Enel's, who also considered himself a god. Could it be Loki's devil fruit powers that make him proclaim himself the Sun God? Now, something interesting about Loki's bounty amount. 2.6 billion seems very intentional on Oda's part. That's because Oda loves to use Gorosei in number games, especially with bounties. And well, 2 and 6 form the phrase Jiro in Goro Awase. So why does this matter? Jiro means second son. In other words, a playful hint from Oda about Loki being the younger brother of Hadruden. But this leads to another implication. Hadruden is the first son. Does that make him the current king of Elbaf? This doesn't seem to be the case since, back in Dressrosa, Hadruden wanted the Mera Mera no Mi specifically to become a king. Who is the current king of Elbaf? I'm very curious to find out. Additionally, Loki reveals that he's the most powerful giant in Elbaf, and that huge tree is indeed the Atom Treasure Tree. For anyone who doesn't remember, the Atom Tree was said to have the world's strongest wood, which was used to build both the Oro Jackson Goldie Roger ship and the Sunny itself. But it's strange because back when Frankie bought this wood for 200 million berries, it was said that this price was because it was the last piece of the tree. Could Frankie have been tricked? It seems so. Also, when Frankie talked about the Atom Tree, he said the following. Once, a long time ago, an endless war was fought on an island. Many people died. The island was destroyed in a hail of bullets and left in ruins. However, people returned to build a new nation near a giant tree, the only thing that remained intact, and it was named Atom. So this confirms that this island is indeed Elbaf. What's more, this could explain why Elbaf is known as the Warland, as it was built after a war, which also explains the warrior spirit of the giants. Just from this simple reveal about Loki, the hype for Elbaf has increased significantly. Continuing the conversation between the two, we see that Luffy has finally met someone at his level. Not in terms of strength, but when it comes to messing up people's names, as Loki calls him Rhodey, which annoys the Straw Hat getting a taste of his own medicine. Luffy, I wonder if we'll see more similarities between Luffy and Loki. São para o inglês como os números por extenso. While Loki asks Luffy to free him from the chains, we see that he's holding a massive hammer Could we finally be looking at Mjolnir? This long-awaited plotline for Usopp might actually happen, right guys? But if that's really the case, what would make Loki worthy enough to lift this hammer? Loki also explains the place they're in, describing it as the primordial world, the world where the sun died. So here's a quick theory. Could this location be the exact place where Nika died? Loki reveals that in these mountains there are many fierce beasts. We see a snake, a gorilla, a wolf, a bear, and a mammoth. He says these animals have been his friends since he was a child. But Luffy says that feels nostalgic, another similarity between Luffy and Loki, since Luffy also had these kinds of animals as friends. But Luffy quickly makes the animals become docile. Of course, this leaves Loki in shock. Besides the animals, Loki also has some human subordinates, who mention that they don't want to pass out like last time. They're talking about Shanks, who was in this same place. Loki revealed that he has been imprisoned for 6 years, which is around the same time Shanks became a Yonko. So this sparked a big theory. Could defeating Loki be the reason Shanks earned this title? Especially with this bounty on Loki's head, maybe Loki held a title similar to a Yonko at the time. Whether because he was defeated by him or for some other reason, Loki calls Shanks a cowardly pirate. This angers Luffy, who attacks Loki using Gear 4. Note here, he's using Gear 4 once again. What could Oda be planning with Luffy constantly using this form? Remember, he already used Gear 4 against Kizaru, and recently used parts of his body in Gear 4 to break the wall in Rhodes' room. Anyway, it seems like Luffy has become obsessed with improving this transformation after being defeated by Kaido using it. After saying he was just joking, Loki asks Luffy to release him, and if he does, he'll destroy any pirate crew that Luffy chooses. But what really catches Luffy's attention, and could be the reason Luffy releases or has already released Loki, I'll explain this quick theory at the end, is Shanks. Luffy wants to know more about Shanks, but Loki says that information won't come for free. Switching perspectives, we see that Road hasn't given up on the Straw Hats and he's running after them, while Gerg and Goldberg are chasing their navigator, Goldberg carrying the Sunny in his hands. Zoro even considers cutting him down, but Usopp reminds him that Goldberg might be friends with the bosses, Dory and Bragi. During this scene, we finally see Hajrudin, who went hunting, to prepare a good feast for the Straw Hats. We get a quick introduction of the new giant crew members, who are part of the Grand Fleet. By the way, this is the first time we'll see an interaction between the Straw Hats and their Grand Fleet. Maybe they'll be updated about what's happened, including that someone from Luffy's fleet was responsible for a major incident involving a Tenryubito at the Reverie. In the final part of the chapter, we see that the giant ship carrying the rest of the crew has finally arrived on the coast of Elbaf. And one of the most excited people there is Robin, who's even returned to her pre-time skip look, which is thrilling almost 100% of her fan base. We get to see Robin with bangs again, and she's thrilled to be reuniting with her dear friend Saul. However, just when everything seems to be going smoothly, one scene changes everything. Someone shouts that Saul has fallen and isn't moving. And well, Oda will be incredibly cruel if Robin finds Saul dead. I don't believe that's what will happen, but something very serious has definitely occurred. And since I think there might be a time gap between Luffy talking to Loki and the giant's ship reaching Elbaf, my theory for this scene is that things have already gone wrong. Luffy has already released Loki and chaos has broken out in Elbaf. This could turn the giants friendly to the Straw Hats against them. In any case, this chapter is promising, and we'll see what's revealed about this scene with Saul in the next chapter, 1132, which arrives next week. And to wrap up this review, a message from Oda. According to the message Oda left in the latest Jump, his trip to Africa to check on the progress of the One Piece live action was refreshing, and he says he's revitalized to continue the manga. So it looks like we have some great chapters ahead. That's it. This was the review of One Piece Chapter 1131. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell. See you next time, and thank you.